All right, we are live today on Confido Legal's LinkedIn and actually on YouTube and Twitter today as well. This was formerly the Gravity Legal Friday legal case management jam session, but since rebranded, so this is the first time we're streaming live under our new brand. And it looks like everything worked out and it's coming through on LinkedIn, so that's good. Today, so super excited to be doing the Friday jam session with Casita Simpson. So Casita, just a little bit of background before I turn it over to her. She's got over 10 years experience as a paralegal, has worked in legal departments of big corporations and also worked for smaller companies, small law firms. She's the founder and CEO of Simpson Associates, focusing on CRM design and implementation for law firms, paralegal support, and legal document drafting. So she's worked with dozens of firms, helping them set up and implement their software systems. So really excited to hear what she has to say today. Before I turn it over to her, a little bit of a plug. So Confido Legal, we're focused on helping law firms find the right legal case management software for them. So if you are curious about what software might be right for you, we have a resource center, confidolegal.com/LCM. And when Casita's talking, I'll take a second to drop the link in the comments. But at this center, we have a database of legal case management software. You can do kind of a worksheet about what's important to your firm and get a free consult. And then we also have an FAQ section about what are the questions or things that you should look at when selecting and also implementing a legal case management system. Check it out, confidolegal.com/LCM. So today for our topic, super excited, we're going to be talking about law firm journey from having a cobbled together group of systems, non-legal specific, maybe some kind of free software, going from that kind of setup to a complete legal case management solution, or at least nearly complete. And this is something Casita has helped many firms do and make that transition. So Casita, I'll turn it over to you, give you a chance to introduce yourself a little bit in your own words. And thank you so much for being here. I'm excited for the conversation.
Yeah, of course. First of all, thank you for inviting me on the platform. Happy Friday to everyone. My name is Casita Simpson. Like Emery said, I'm the founder and CEO of Simpson Associates, LLC. I have had the pleasure of working with some amazing firms over the course of the past few years with my business and assisting them with just getting from nothing, probably just emails and just keeping files in Dropbox, to just having some type of setup, some type of organization. And I thrive on it and I love it. And I have just had the ability to just take the technology that's out there and just make it shine and just make it work for a particular firm, no matter what it is, no matter their price point. And it's been really cool. It's been a really cool experience.
Awesome. Well, so I know you've done a lot of work, a lot of different projects helping firms set up their software. Any stories that come to mind that either maybe illustrate some of the challenges of making this transition from wide to more of a complete solution, or some of the opportunities that it presents?
Yeah, for sure. I can say that making the transition from just having a simple setup from email to Dropbox to then maybe going into something a little bit more simple is always about cost, because at the end of the day, the firm is trying to make sure that they're doing what they can to keep up with the cases that they have, but at the same time, don't spend too much on overhead and expenses to be able to get there. So a lot of the times when I'm consulting and working with firms, it's usually a cost thing, why they haven't pulled the trigger to a complete solution or something a little bit more robust. I noticed that in the beginning, like a couple of firms, they would use maybe an Asana or one of those platforms that where the price point's a lot cheaper, and then trying to make it work with that, and maybe a payment processor like maybe Stripe, or even Squarespace, or even just trying to use different platforms like that to be able to make their systems work the way that they want it to. And then finding that maybe starting off with something like Locus, starting off at a lower price point and just having everything centralized and being more cost effective and time saving in the long run. A story that I had was there was specifically a gentleman that I was working with, and he had a system that he was using, and it just wasn't complete. Like did some of the things that he wanted it to do. He was able to keep up with his cases. He was able to keep up with like time entries and things like that. But when it came to sending out campaigns, when it came to tracking ROI, when it came to being able to send out more detailed, robust intake forms, the system unfortunately just couldn't keep up with those capabilities. So after doing some research, I found a system that was able to integrate with the system that he was already using. And it was game changer. We're a lot more robust. They were more detailed. We were able to get the information that we needed. And it just made things move more efficiently within his firm. And without even realizing, we were saving so much time. And I'm always about trying to help the firm get organized and save time. And I think that he didn't even realize, and even being able to track like different platforms where he's been spending money on marketing initiatives and things like that, he was able to save money because he saw which avenues he was using that wasn't really benefiting him or his firm. And I definitely think that case management system helped with that.
Yeah, that's interesting. If someone's listening and they're maybe in that kind of DIY space right now, like what are some of the signs that you've seen that maybe like stretch to the breaking point, or maybe even looking at it like in a positive way, signs that there's more opportunity to upgrade systems and things like that?
First of all, it's a beautiful thing when you've reached to the point that you're like, I need to upgrade. I've outgrown this DIY system. That's a beautiful thing. And the signs usually look like this person came on board. Where exactly are they at? What exactly did they purchase? How are we tracking this? What we were using to track it, because the volume is now increasing, the systems are not automating in the way that they need to, or maybe an automation broke down and impossible to figure out which automation exactly caused the system to not send the triggers that it was supposed to. Like little things like that that really add up and start to make it like, okay, this is not working for me anymore. I need to get out and abandon ship and find something a lot better. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a beautiful thing. You know, you start out, you're a small firm, you just want to get what you need to be able to start working on case files and be able to help your clients. That's the whole point. But through helping clients, you're able to figure out what are the most important tools that I need to make sure that I'm moving efficiently, so that I am keeping up with client communication, so that I am keeping up with what my team is doing, KPIs and different things like that. And if you're unable to manage what's going on in your firm, then it's definitely going to be hard to keep it going.
Yeah, interesting. Last time we did the jam session, maybe 2 weeks ago, we talked about pricing and how maybe firms that are not necessarily growing a lot versus firms that are growing a lot and are experiencing a high degree of growth and are trying to embrace that should think about pricing in a completely different way, because the value you get from the software and setting up systems for the future is so much higher in that case. So being willing to maybe invest a little bit more at that space and maybe get a system that's even a little bit too big for where you are today, but fits perfectly for where you want to be tomorrow.
Definitely. If you have the mindset that you're like, I see the potential of this firm growing to be a lot more than what it is right now, and you have the bandwidth to be able to afford going into something that you could grow into, do it for sure. And a lot of systems start off with a lower price for you to try it out, and then you can grow into something more. That's the beauty of it. You have the ability to upgrade as you're growing.
Yeah. Interesting sort of transition that we see a lot. So we integrate with a system called Lean Law. It's a really powerful time and billing system. I'm sure you're aware of it, built on top of QuickBooks. So Lean Law, you have to have QuickBooks Online to make it work. We see a lot of people whose firms start out just using QuickBooks basically as their kind of practice management system, obviously non-legal specific, a lot of limitations there. But such a great transition in that case from the DIY QuickBooks ecosystem to making that legal specific by upgrading to Lean Law. I think there's quite a few systems that are really good for firms who are coming from a certain place. You mentioned maybe if you're using something like Dubsado, Locus can be a great sort of upgrade path.
Oh, definitely.
So any other upgrade paths like that to put you on the spot?
I would say, depending on what you need it for, depending on what exactly you're trying to do next, I would say in my case, it would be another good one.
Got it. Nice. I've heard some really good things about that path as well.
There's a couple of things in my case that I really enjoy.
What are those things?
So for a firm that has like a practice area of family law, I like their way that they have like relationships with co-counsel and opposing counsel. Like it's all neatly housed in one section of the platform, and it's easy to access and it's easy to get to. And I like their client portal as well. I really do like their client portal. The way that it's situated, you can upload all of your files there, but at the same time, you can pick and choose which files the client is able to access and review, and you're able to securely send documents and things like that. A lot of the other systems have it too, but there's a certain way that my case does it that I just think is very neat.
Yeah, nice. Other than the cost of software, I'm curious, what are the other barriers that you see or hesitations firms have when they're like, I've picked all these different things because they're like basically free and I've cobbled this together. Obviously, we talked about price, but what else? What are the other?
Yeah, so when it's not price at issue, technology, believe it or not,
Yeah.
we stick to certain things that are easy because it's been tried and true. It's been an industry standard. It works because there's maybe a lot of information on how to move through the technology properly, or maybe even it's a situation where it's just simple. It's very simple. And so that works. Then you get into something that's a little bit more robust where you can do custom fields and intuitive intake forms with condition logic and different things like that. You can map it to your website, and it's like, whoa, like we're moving way too fast for me right now. Let's slow this down a bit. This isn't working out. I've definitely come across that.
Yeah, interesting. I've seen law firms, they have maybe a great team in-house and they are able to really implement software very well themselves. I've seen firms that also have a great team in-house, but that don't have the expertise to like implement systems. What should a firm be thinking about to decide, should I get help implementing a new system or can I do it myself with the team I have?
I think it's up to the user. It's really going to come down to if you know that you struggle with technology and there's someone on your team that excels at it, allowing them that ability to try to help the firm out in any kind of way that they can. And doing tests, it's important to definitely conduct tests to make sure that whatever has been implemented is actually working. If it's something simple where you've built an intake form, but you can't locate that intake form, like if you built an intake form to do an automation and the automation never happened, but you received the intake form, that's another sign, that's an indicator. Even when you're trying to put in notes and you're expecting it to trigger an automation, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Set it up. So it's little things like that. But if you're doing tests and you're like, okay, everything's working fluid and it's working fine, then you're on the right track. You can continue doing it your way for sure. And then there's definitely support in all kinds of resources that you can reach out to for sure. I'm on YouTube. I have videos up there for different systems and things like that. So there's definitely ways if you struggle, and then always feel free to reach out and consult with someone if it's really that bad where no one on your team can assist. There's definitely support out there that can make everything work the way that it needs to. Those are definitely things that I offer, but there's different ways that you can go about it if it's something that is not working, like you're troubleshooting and it's not working. I know that Locus is really good about responding. They have a chat box that they, like if something's going on, they'll chat with you pretty quickly, and you can always email them as well and they'll get back to you. So there's definitely resources out there. I know that my case has a phone number where you can call them and they'll answer your questions and things like that. So their support, don't struggle with it. If it's broken, definitely reach out to someone if you've advanced into one of these systems. And that's also the beauty of having these systems, is that you have real-time support if something's going on, and they're mostly aware of what the practice areas are to guide you in the right direction. That's something that's a little lacking, because if it's not meant to be used in that way, you're reaching out to support and you're not really getting the help that you need exactly for that specific issue.
Yeah, interesting. You're getting like support people who are like calling your clients patients. It's definitely pretty comforting to have someone who speaks the language.
That's another benefit of just slipping into something a little bit higher in price.
Yeah.
Too crazy right away.
Yeah, and having that whole team of people who built the software and know the complete solution, as opposed to you having to explain that you've got this system connected to that system and this system and have some automation. Yeah, that makes sense. I think Going back to the implementation piece, there are many companies out there that support like Salesforce implementations and big software implementations. But I think one thing I've learned over the past year, there's some great resources that support smaller firms in the process of implementing these systems. And you can get help that's amazing and cost effective for, even for a solo firm to set up really powerful systems, and you don't have to do it all alone.
You don't have to swim off the deep end without a life jacket.
Yeah, but some firms, they love it. That's like really fun for them. They've got a team that's super tech savvy, and it's like a fun thing to implement new systems. But a lot of them definitely don't, and don't know that there's help out there.
Yeah. What I will say too, though, is that even the ones that have tech savvy internal teams, they still sometimes go for outside support because of bandwidth. It's about like the ability to get to that thing and to be able to make that thing the way that it needs to be. Sometimes the time is just not there, especially if they're a growing firm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. So that tech savvy person probably, that they're moonlighting as being tech savvy, but really they're the paralegal or the office manager or the legal assistant, and they have other things that they now need to be dealing with.
Yeah, as we're getting closer to the end, speaking to that firm that's maybe trying to decide, should I upgrade? Should I not? Do I need a case management system? What have we not covered that you've seen would be helpful information for a firm looking to make that decision?
I think honestly, it would be client communication and follow up. I know I like grazed over it a little bit, but really that's a key indicator. If your team isn't able to be fluid and aware of what's going on internally and who to follow up on when and what the status is within your systems that you have now, it's definitely time to upgrade. And it's not a good sign from the outside looking in that your team isn't aware of each thing, especially this person's calling and then this person also calls, or sending out duplicate emails and things like that. Or maybe even it's just simple as making a follow-up call and not having to write notes in front of you for that particular matter to be able to indicate what exactly is going on.
Awesome. And we actually have a question from the comments. I'll put you on the spot again with. These aren't pre-planned questions, folks. So a question came in: what case management systems are most rapidly advancing in their use of AI? And are you impressed with any of those efforts? To put you on the spot, Casita, anything that you've seen that you're impressed with out there, or is it all just a lot of hype?
I wouldn't say that it's all hype. I do think that all the systems are really trying to make great strides in having AI be a part of their systems and have it be cohesive and synergized and things like that. But I would say automatics right now, because they're often sending out communications, they're often sending out updates, they're often working on making AI a part of it. And they're also trying to get the community involved as well in being informed on the different things that they're doing and changing where AI is concerned. I've been working on building up some things in their system with AI. So it's funny that this person is asking about that. Hopefully in the new year, I'll be able to start talking about that on the YouTube platform.
Nice. Yeah. So stay tuned on the YouTube platform. I really hope I'm not going to get in trouble for this, but I think there's a platform called Fidu that is focused on facilitating subscription legal services and interaction between the firm and the client, to really take the relationship from a reactive, kind of the typical, here's a problem and I'm going to help solve that, to like, how can we create like a proactive client relationship, which I think is really cool. And the platform allows clients to communicate. You're probably well aware of this, but background for everyone else. They just launched an AI tool that basically helps you take the data that you have into your documents, your information that you've stored in there, and I think suggest responses to clients when they're on these subscription services. So we actually have a financially legal podcast episode coming out soon with Kim Bennett, the founder of Fidu, one of the co-founders of Fidu. And she talks a little bit about that. So a little preview for that coming out.
I think it's so funny that you mentioned Fidu, though, because I've recently been having the opportunity to dabble in that with a client of mine and trying to build out some things in there. And one of the cool things that I like is slipping in a document and then having it help you build out a questionnaire. That's one of the things that it does. And I think that's pretty neat in terms of what you're getting in the end. And it speeds up time and tries to help you speed up time. I'm there for it. And I like how intuitive it is. And you can have a client portal and load it up with different videos and things like that to have a really nice welcoming experience. So for like a document generating system, I think it works.
Yeah, sounds good. So maybe to summarize, some cool features all around, but nothing that's really transformed the legal case management landscape yet.
Yeah.
Well, we are at time. Casita, how can listeners find out more if they maybe are in that space where they want to upgrade and they also want help upgrading?
Yeah, you can definitely go to my website, simpson-assoc.com. You can fill out the contact form and get in touch with me there, or check out the YouTube channel, CAS Loves Tech, and you'll be able to find me and watch the videos concerning building out systems and answering questions and things like that.
Awesome.
I enjoyed this.
It is so awesome to connect again. I always enjoy talking to you about it and hearing your battle stories from helping law firms improve their technologies. I'm sure we'll do this again sometime. And for everyone out there, have a great Friday and a great weekend.
Have a great weekend. Bye, guys.